Now we will continue our watercolor lesson for today. You'll be using the special heavy paper that's in your packet for this week, special watercolor paper, and your very nice white-handled brush. This is a medium-sized brush, a size 8. They come bigger and smaller, as you've seen in class before. We're going to be learning about color value. Color value is how strong or how pale a color is. With acrylic, to get a pale color, you add white. And you've probably noticed there's no white in our paint set. You very rarely use white with watercolor. White tends to make the color kind of creamy or chalky, not as transparent. And that's the beauty of watercolor, is the transparency or the see-throughness of the colors. And we're going to see a little more of that transparency when we do our art project for today. Right now, though, we're going to practice making the colors lighter. And you may have already guessed from last week when we did our color swatches that the way you make it lighter is by adding more water. So I have already added a drop of water to each of my colors. We're only going to do these 6. We're not going to do brown or black today. So let's pull out some red. Ooh, that's lappy, thicky, sweet. And put it on our plate. Looks like blood. And then you're going to paint a little swatch, we call it, a little shape. It doesn't have to be perfectly rectangular, just a little shape. Nice bright red. You can even tap your brush a little bit on it to put more paint in there, make it really, really bright. Now we're going to add a little bit of water to it. So scoop up some water on your brush, get a big old drip, mix it in there, maybe get another drip, mix it around, and let's paint another swatch. See what it looks like. Maybe get a little bit of this paint off your brush. It's not too much of a flood there. Oh, look, it's a lot lighter. We can put a little more paint in there. Now we're going to add a little bit more water. Maybe clean off our brush a little bit and add some more water. So we're going to go across the page like this, gradually getting lighter and lighter as we add more water to our puddle on the plate. Let's add quite a bit more water. Maybe pull some of this off to the side and add some more water. And then add some more water. Turn my plate around so you can see. I'm trying to get away from that puddle that has lots of paint in it. Another thing you can do is just dip your brush and kind of scrape off the extra paint and then paint with that. There's a really light one. And you can go even lighter to the point where you almost can't see it. You probably can't see it. Let me hold it up to the camera. You see that really, really light one right there? It's still got a little bit of pink, or red rather. This brings up what I call the pink problem. These lighter shades of red, to me, they don't really look pink, like a pink rose or something like that. You can purchase paint that is actually pink. It's not called pink. It's usually called rose or something like that. There's one that's called permanent rose. It's an actual paint. It comes in a tube, like the more expensive watercolors, and it's actually a pink color. So that's the only color you kind of can't make by adding water is a true carnation pink, pink, pink. All right, so I'm going to wipe off my plate. Hopefully I won't leave any red behind. If you've got a lot of color in your water, you might get some clean water. Mine's pretty clear still. So I'm going to go on to orange. I'm going to dry off my brush, and I'm going to scoop up some thick, gloppy orange. Don't dig a big hole in your orange, but pick up some nice, bright orange. Ooh, look at that. That's nice. You might even dab a little more in there just to make it really bright. We call this, when the color is like this, we call it, the color is saturated. And now I'm going to pick up a little bit of water and mix it into my orange puddle over here on my plate. Maybe dab off a little extra so it doesn't flood my plate, my paper. There, that's a little lighter. Now let's add some more water. Well, that one's about the same. I'm going to soak up some water on my paper towel and then lift a little bit of this off the page. There we go. Now I'm going to add a little more water. Kind of take some of the paint off the brush. Did you see how I did that on the side of the plate? Or I can do it on my paper towel. So I'm going to add a little more water to my puddle. So if you were trying to paint a really pale blue sky, then you might make a puddle that was really, really light blue on your plate. And then you can work from that to create your light blue sky. Okay, so this time I'm just going to rinse the brush in there and put it over here. That's another technique you can use to get lighter and lighter and lighter colors. That one's actually lighter than that one. Oh well. I'm going to pause the video and go wash my plate. When you wash your plate, make sure you dry it after. Dry it really well. Otherwise, you're going to have water on your plate, and that's going to mess with your paints. They're going to run all over the place. So get it nice and dry when you wash it. You're probably not going to be able to use that same paper plate I gave you last time. So find a dish. Ask your mom, make sure it's okay with her that you use that dish. It should be white so you can see the color. All right, so you're going to continue doing this with all the colors. You may say, well, how can yellow get any lighter? Well, we can have a super bright yellow, or we can have a really pale yellow. So there's a very saturated yellow. Again, you can tap in a little bit more paint to make it come out really, really bright. Now let's add a little water. I might even just add the water over to the side like that and not go back into my first color until I need more paint. Add a little more water. Add some more water. Well, that yellow is pretty powerful for a light color. But you can see now I'm starting to get lighter and lighter and lighter. Now I'm going to do one where I just dip the brush and don't even go back into the paint. Oh, a little bit, that's so light you won't be able to see it. And then a really, 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 really light one all the way across. So you're going to do that with the green and the blue and the purple as well. So I'll do mine and then I'll come back and you can see how it turned out. All right, I'm going to come back and do the purple with you. I've thought of a few more things you might want to think about. When you pick up your first color, when you want it to be really bright, kind of dry your brush off, because if you add extra water, it makes the color more thin. So here's my purple. I make a really, 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 really saturated purple. And you can see I'm not making perfect rectangles. I'm just making a swatch, they call it. Now I'm going to add some water. And I'm going to go over here and mix, because that purple is super, super thick. See already? It's almost as dark. Now I'm going to add a little more water. Maybe even clean some of that paint out of my brush before I go over here and swizzle around in my puddle. And here's a little lighter color. Okay, then I'm going to kind of get some water, some of that paint off my brush and add a little more water. That one didn't come out much lighter. So now just dip, wipe, and you can go over here, and then you get an even lighter color. Or add a bunch of water over here to your puddle. So you would be testing these out until you get the lightest color that you want. You don't have to go light always, but you're going to make yourself a puddle that's the right intensity, and make a big one if you're going to be painting a large area, and then you will work from that puddle. Do never leave your brush sitting in the water like that. The reason is this handle is made of wood. This part is wood. This part is metal. It is tightly clamped around the wood, but if you leave it in the water, this will soak up water, it'll spread, it'll push this out, and then this will fall. When it dries, this will fall off, and you will have just ruined your brush. Never, 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 never leave your brush in the water. Clean it well, check it by squeezing it to see if there's any color coming out, reform it into a point, and it's ready to be put away. So take your fingers and gently make it into a point. You may even find that when it dries, when you come back to it, it's kind of a little bit stiffened, and that's okay. Now you'll see right here, this kind of puddled in here to a darker color because a lot of the pigment kind of ran down. It did it right here too, but that's because I kept putting extra paint in there. So that's another effect you can get with watercolor that you can't get with any other kind of paint. So now what you're going to do is you're going to turn your paper, once it's dry, let it dry, we're going to turn the paper over and do a project on the back. So I'm going to pause the video and do that with you. So go around your house and pick up several different sizes of cups or jars or mugs, things with different size tops to them. And we're going to take a pencil and lightly draw some circles on the paper, like this. So you're wanting your circles to be overlapping a little bit. So I'm going to make a couple big ones. And then maybe I'll put that aside. And the bottom of this also makes a different size circle. The bottom of this is really dirty, so I'm not going to use that. But here's another one. I'm going to trace around it. And then maybe I'll overlap these like that. So get about 8 or 10 or so overlapping circles. I'm going to use the bottom of this to get a little tiny one. You could even do littler ones than this. I'll put one up here. Just make it look interesting. Don't worry about it too much. Just have fun with it. Okay, I've got a medium-sized one here. And put one here. Oops. And you don't do these super light, but don't make them real dark. We probably won't try to erase these. We'll just keep them. They'll be part of the design. Maybe we'll even outline them with Sharpie when we're done. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to overlap both those bubbles so they connect. These kind of look like soap bubbles to me. Like you could blow out of a bubble blower. Oops. Yuck. Made a squiggle. So if you make a squiggle like that, erase it, because it will not erase. Once you put the paint over it, you can't erase it. I think I need something in that little hole right there. Maybe one that's not overlapping anybody, just hanging out there by himself. So get a variety of sizes. Whoa, I just did another squiggle. Okay, there you go. Now, we're going to make some very pale colors. And we're going to paint some of these circles different colors. So I've kept my plate here with some of these colors on it. I can mix some others too if I want. What was I going to tell you? we're going to paint some circles that are not overlapping to start with. So let's do some medium colors. The nice thing about watercolor is it is, like I said before, transparent, which means you can see through a top layer color to an under layer color. And you can even make some more interesting colors if you want. This green over here, I don't really like it. It's kind of fakey looking. So I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of orange to it to make it look more like a natural. You know what? I think I'm going to add purple. See what that does. Make it look a little more of a natural sort of green. And then if you have a little piece of regular paper that you haven't, just regular writing paper, you can test out your colors and see if you like them. Nah, I don't like that color. That's not a good color. So let me try mixing my green with a little bit of orange. I'm going to get that out of there. But I want to save this other paint because these are thick, these extra paints. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. When you're painting, don't have your water on one side and your paints on the other side, so you're like going back and forth with water across your paper, because guess what's going to happen? You're going to drip, and it's going to hurt your painting. There, I'm going to add just a smidgiest bit of orange to that green, and now I like it a whole lot better. If your water's really dirty, you might go get some clean water. All right, so I'm going to make this, let's see. I'm going to make this circle green. And I can add more water to help the color spread. I'm going to fill in this circle with green. So you see, it overlaps some other circles, but I'm just not going to paint those yet until this green has completely dried. So let's see, maybe I'll make one purple. So I'm going to use this light purple. I'm going to make it a little darker, but now I don't want a super dark color. Okay, so here's purple. Add some more. So this is just playing around with colors. But what we're going to learn from this project, besides using our new technique of making light colors, we're going to learn how to put one color over the other without having them blend into each other. Next time we're going to do that one where they spread out. Okay, so let's see. I think I'm going to pause the video and do a few more, and then I'll come back. All right, so I have done all the circles that are not overlapping with another circle. So now I need to wait until this is dry. I could take it out in the sun, and it would dry faster, or just leave it for a while. In the winter time, sometimes I'll use a hairdryer, but you have to be careful with that, because if you have a lot of water on your paper, it can blow the water across the page. But you notice that I've used fairly light shades for values of these colors. So we'll come back when they're dry. All right, so these colors are dry. One way you can tell is to look and see if they look shiny still, or you can touch them gently with the side of your hand. If they feel cold, oh, that one's still a little bit wet, feels a little bit cold. So I'll avoid that one for a few minutes while I work on some of the other ones. So let's do a color overlapping this blue that is analogous to that blue color. So that means something that is on one side or the other of it in the color wheel. So blue is analogous with green or with purple. So you can either have this group here or this group here that gets along with blue. And we're going to learn more about ones that don't, quote, get along with later. So let's try yellow. Let's make some yellow. I've got some yellow left on my plate over here. So I'm going to overlap this blue bubble with a yellow bubble. And I might make my yellow a little stronger because yellow's so light that we want to be able to see it. So you can see where the two bubbles overlap, you're getting a third color, kind of a green, which is what you would expect, because blue and yellow make green. With this purple, I think I'm going to put red over the top of that. So you can do the colors you want. I'm going to get a pale red, and I'm going to put it right here. So you can see it's a true red color where it goes over the white paper, but where it goes over the purple, it makes kind of the plum color. A little hint, with watercolor paper, don't keep painting and painting and painting and painting and painting and painting. Eventually you will wear it out and it'll start making fuzz balls like on an old sweater. Okay, what's a color? Ooh, I got myself into a corner here. Got red, blue, and green. Red, blue, and green. What's analogous with all those? Not much. Let's just pick a color and see what happens. How about this one was like a blue-green mix, so let's just use straight blue. I'll make this blue, it's gotten dry, but you see how I can just add water to it and it comes right back? I'm going to make a different shade of blue over this, because this one was kind of a blue-green. Oops. Okay, try not to go outside the lines, but yeah, don't worry about it too much. When you're painting a real painting, sometimes there aren't any lines. You're just painting something like a mountain. See, I didn't have enough of a puddle, so I'm having to make one as I go. So I'm going to stop. I don't want to wear out the paper. Stop. Stop. All right. All right, I'm going to put orange over here. Orange and green aren't a good combination, and we're going to learn more about that later on. But let's do it anyway, since I've gotten myself into a corner here. And you can see how you can see underneath the other colors still. But our colors are not blending into each other because we waited for the first layer to dry before we put on the second layer. Okay, so now this bubble here has this blue one that it's going over, and that blue one is not dry. So I have to wait until this blue one dries. You can see, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to try to tilt it. See how that blue one is shiny? Can you catch the light on that at all? I don't know if it does, but it's very wet. If I get down low and look, I can see that there's water standing on it. Another thing you can do when you're painting a painting and you get a puddle going on that you don't want, you can clean your brush, dry it, and then use it to soak up extra water. Kind of like a vacuum cleaner. So you see even here where I just put blue over blue, it's a different shade. It's darker than the blue underneath. I'm going to hold this up close for you to see it. Stand up where I can see what you're seeing. There we go. Make you dizzy. All right, so see here where these two overlapped, we got a third color. Where these overlapped, we got different colors. Here where they overlapped, we have different colors. So I'm waiting, however, till this blue one to dry before I put this last bubble. So I'll put you on pause for just a minute. All right, I think our blue is just about dry. And I'm feeling like I'd like some more yellow in this painting. So I'm going to make a little puddle of yellow over here, maybe a little brighter yellow. A yellow with some more intensity. My yellow's trying to mix with that orange on the plate there. Try to stay inside the lines, but it's no big deal if you don't. So here we go. We're going to cross over the blue and over the green. Let's see what happens. Just keep picking up more paint. If you need to make a little bit more in the puddle, make a little more. And there we go. Whoops, I'm starting to pick up a little bit of the blue. So I think the blue wasn't quite dry over here. I'm cheating. I'm putting more blue in there. You'll find that certain colors push other colors away. They seem to be one that pushes into the other more than the other way around. A little blue up there, I can pick that up. Sometimes some colors too, if you spill them, you can pick them up with a clean brush. So you clean your, got a nice clean towel there. Get your brush clean, dry it mostly off, and then try lightly moving over the color. See if you can lift it off. Purple's pretty staining, so I don't think it'll lift off. See, maybe I can get this blue. See where I spilled over the blue a little bit? Sort of, yeah. Picking it up a little bit, and then use a clean part of your paper towel to dab it up. So I fixed a little bit of my blooper. So there's your project. I find that this transparent nature of paint makes it fun to paint balloons, because you know how you can see one balloon through another one, but where they overlap, like if you have a yellow balloon sort of overlapping a blue balloon, where they overlap looks green. So this is what's called wet into dry technique. Next lesson we're going to do wet into wet. So you have your different intensities, or what we call values of colors. And let's label this page with a pen. Let's write value at the top. V-A-L-U-E. Value. Value study. And then on the other side is your lovely soap bubble painting or balloon painting. Good work. See you next time.